Thank you for joining us for our 2:30 stream. I am Robinson Miles. Sadly, Jamie French is needed elsewhere today, so you guys are just stuck with the substitute teacher. You're just stuck with me today. But we do have a lot happening around the tri-state today, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, we start with a man who is on trial in Evansville for murder. Court records show Jared Baltzel, let's get his picture up there, is accused of shooting and killing DeMonzio Armstead at Washington and South Hebron Avenue on November 5th, 2024. An affidavit shows a woman had been staying with Armstead and the two got into a fight. The woman told police Armstead hit her during the argument and she called Baltzel, her fiance, to come get her. The woman says he arrived and tried to pull her out of the apartment. That's when she says she heard several shots and got down on the ground. Police say 11 shell casings were found. Court records show Baltzel is claiming self-defense. Of course, this is going to be something we're going to continue to check on throughout the week, and so, of course, be sure to check back in with us as we learn more. Now, for our second story, a Gibson County father is accused of causing serious injuries to his baby. Now, deputies say they were contacted by Evansville hospital officials about an infant who is being treated for what appeared to be a non-accidental head injury. They say during an interview with the baby's father in Hobstadt, 23-year-old Zachary Rogers admitted to hurting his baby. No word on what he did, but Rogers was charged with neglect resulting in serious bodily injury. We're told the baby was taken to another hospital in the state for further treatment. Now, for our final story here, over the weekend, members of the Evansville Fire Department partnered with the American Red Cross for another home fire campaign. Now, volunteers went door to door to talk with people about fire safety and the importance of working smoke detectors. Now, they also installed and replaced smoke detectors free of charge. Now, of course, this is in the wake of something that happened recently. They did this in the East Powell Avenue neighborhood, the same area where 3 boys were killed in a house fire last month. Crews say there were no working smoke detectors in the home. Volunteers say their goal is to make sure every home has working detectors so families get the early warning that they need to make sure that they get out of a home that is on fire safely. Now, of course, the big thing going on today is, of course, our weather. So we're going to go ahead and hand things off to Arden Gregory, who's continuing to monitor things for us here. Of course, we've got our reporters and photographers all over the tri-state. So be sure to check back in with us tonight for 14 News at 4, 5, and 6. So for now, let's go ahead and throw things over to Arden.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory. This is a look at our 24-hour temperature change, and what that means is, here's Evansville. It's 44 degrees colder in Evansville right now than it was exactly 24 hours ago. So yesterday afternoon, our temperatures were well into the 70s, and instead today we are sitting in the 20s and 30s, and all of that is because of this cold front that swept through the tri-state. So as we went through, this isn't wanting to move forward. This cold front that swept through the tri-state last night, if we can get this to progress forward to the next thing here. Here we go. Okay, so we had this line of storms that pushed through the tri-state last night. Many of you were probably watching as we were tracking those as they moved through. We did have some severe thunderstorms that produced damaging wind gusts. We've had reports of trees damaged or knocked down, some power lines and things like that as well. That line of storms pushed off to the east then last night and worked its way off the east coast today. But as that line of storms moved through, behind that sharply colder air moved in. If you stepped outside last night after the storms moved through, you felt it almost immediately. The temperature started to drop very quickly. And then by this morning, it had gotten so cold that any remaining moisture wrapping around on the backside of the system has been falling as snow. So many of you did get some light snow last night into this morning and may still be seeing some snow right now. We have some light snow showers showing up on the radar, stretching from Edwards and Wabash in Illinois through Gibson, Warwick, Spencer, Pike, and Du Bois counties in Indiana. A few flurries showing up in Perry County as well. So many of us are dry, but some folks still seeing a few snowflakes. It does seem like those snow showers will continue to push off to the southeast this afternoon. And this evening does look mostly dry. We may still catch a stray shower or two overnight and into early Tuesday morning, but it would just be a flurry or two mainly in that northeast corner. Most of the tri-state will stay dry. Tomorrow, actually from about midday into the early afternoon, I think we may see a very brief window where we could get some sunshine. Then it clouds right back up Tuesday evening, but that's because a warm front is headed our way. Now, if last night's storms were from a cold front, and you know how it feels out there today, you can probably infer the impact this warm front is going to have as we get toward the middle of the week. So we have this warm front pushing in from the west late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. That again could bring us a few spotty snow showers, maybe mixing in with some rain as we go through Wednesday morning. Then those snow showers start to work their way off to the east. Again, we may see a brief change over to some rain as well as those move out. And then as we get into Wednesday afternoon, the clouds and the rain and snow chances start to clear. We start to get some sunshine in here. But look at the wind arrows here. Our wind direction changes. Warmer air starts to flow back in from the southwest, and we're going to see a real surge in our temperatures as we go through the second half of the week. And by Friday and Saturday, we're right back into the mid 70s. So while we do still have a few snowflakes possible through the remainder of this afternoon and another shot at some snow overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we're not expecting any kind of impactful snow accumulation. These will have little to no real impact on the tri-state. Any kind of significant impactful snow accumulation that would impact travel and things like that, all of that is going to be to our north and to our east, especially up around the Great Lakes and out into Appalachia there. So again, we're just talking about you may see a few snowflakes through the rest of the day today, and then again Tuesday night into early Wednesday as that warm front is swinging through the tri-state, but we're really not expecting any kind of winter weather impacts from this, no slick roads or things like that. As for our temperatures, it is hard to believe that we were in the 70s at this time yesterday, because we're sitting in the upper 20s to low 30s right now. It's 28 in Mount Carmel, Evansville, Newburgh, Henderson, and Owensboro, but it feels even colder than that. Our wind chills are ranging from the mid to upper teens to low 20s. So this wind is really driving the weather that we're experiencing today, because first of all, this wind coming from the west-northwest is what is pulling this colder air down into the tri-state. Then just to add insult to injury here, that wind also causes a wind chill to make it feel even colder than the cold air that wind is already bringing in. So the wind is a real problem for us today. It's making it cold and it's making it feel even colder. And that wind is going to be a problem for us through the night as well. Our temperatures will drop back through the 20s and into the upper teens by early Tuesday morning. Notice the wind is still coming out of the west-northwest and still at a pretty good clip too. I think we'll see consistent winds of 10 to 15 miles an hour overnight, maybe gusting up to 20 or 25 miles an hour at times. So still breezy through the overnight hours, and that means wind chill will still be a factor. So as our actual temperatures drop back through the 20s and into the upper teens, our wind chills will drop back through the teens and into the single digits. So first thing tomorrow morning, as you get up to start your day and step out the door, you will absolutely need to bundle up. With wind chills in the single digits, that put us into that kind of of extreme caution zone here. We're not quite into that danger zone. We're not talking about a wind chill advisory or anything like that, but it is going to be very cold, especially compared to the weather we've had here recently. So if you're going to be out tonight or especially first thing tomorrow morning, please bundle up. This is a situation where if you're going to be outside for any extended period of time, especially, you need to have a hat, gloves, and a nice thick winter coat. So hopefully you didn't pack all that away when we got into the 80s a couple days ago. We are still going to need that winter coat first thing tomorrow morning. Then as we go through the day on St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, it is going to be partly sunny. Like I said, we will have clouds for a good chunk of the day, but I think right through about lunchtime into the early afternoon, we may have a window where we see some sun. Not as breezy, but still a gentle breeze coming in from the west. High temperatures will be in the mid-30s tomorrow, so just a few degrees warmer than today, but still pretty cold for this time of year. And again, there is that very slight chance of a stray snow flurry first thing tomorrow morning, with another round of snow possible overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday morning along that warm front. But look at the impact that warm front's going to have. By Wednesday afternoon, those temperatures start climbing into the 50s. By Thursday, we're in the upper 60s, and then Friday and Saturday, highs in the mid 70s again. And, just to coincidentally here, Friday is also the spring equinox. So we've got spring temperatures arriving just in time for the official start of spring. You will notice those temperatures start to fall off again as we get into early next week. We are expecting a cold front to pass through the tri-state on Sunday. Right now it looks like it's going to be a dry front, so I don't think we're going to have any rain or storms or snow or anything associated with that, but it will bring a shift in our wind direction, and so we will cool things back off just a little bit as we get into the start of next week. But really, that's really just kind of returning us to normal for this time of year. Checking in on the comments here. Good afternoon, Mary, Ophelia. Kelly says, was worried about the severe weather yesterday. We all were. It really could have been much worse. We did have some trees down and damaged, some power outages and things like that. But there was the threat that if things had worked out just a little bit differently, if we hadn't had a little bit of rain before the main line, just small things that made a difference, it really could have been much worse. We could have ended up with much more widespread wind damage and tornadoes. So yeah, we lucked out there. But man, that cold front still packed a punch when it came to the temperatures. I know a lot of folks are dealing with headaches today due to this extreme change. Jeff Miller says, bring on the warm front. I am with you on that, Jeff. And Susie reporting that it is snowing in Otwell, Indiana. Yeah, a lot of places, especially as you get into the northeastern part of the tri-state, are still seeing some snow this afternoon, expecting that to taper off this evening. I do want to give a quick roundup of the month so far. We're halfway through here. And so far, excluding today, it's really been a pretty warm month. We've had a lot of 60s, 70s, and even a couple days in the 80s so far this March. Yesterday, our high was 77, so it's hard to believe that we're struggling to even make it to freezing today. As far as rainfall is concerned, the very first week of March was very rainy. We've had a bit of a break this week. We did have some storms Wednesday night of this past week, and then again, the storms last night put down a little more than a half inch of rain at the Evansville airport, just kind of adding to the surplus we're already running on rainfall this month. Our average temperature well above normal so far this month. Obviously today and tomorrow going to put a little bit of a dent in that average temperature, with our highs only reaching the 20s and 30s today. Overnight lows tonight dipping into the upper teens, and then tomorrow highs only reaching the mid-30s again. But notice Tuesday night and a Wednesday morning already about 10 degrees warmer, and then that warm air really starts to kick in throughout the day on Wednesday. That warm front's moving through Tuesday night and a Wednesday morning. So through the course of the day Wednesday, we see that surge of warmer air from the south, and that really has our temperatures climbing then through the second half of the week and into this weekend. We do have another cold front potentially potentially bringing us a cool down Sunday into Monday, but really that just returns us to normal. Our highs this time of year are typically in the mid to upper 50s, and that's exactly where we'll be then as we head into the start of next week. The extended outlook, if you're curious about next week, does show a trend then back toward slightly above average temperatures. So we kind of return to normal on Monday, but it doesn't seem like that cool down will last very long. We'll start to trend back toward those 60s then as we go through the rest of next week. We're also outlooked for average precipitation. So it is possible we could see some more rain as we get into next week, but it doesn't seem like we'll be caught in an overly rainy pattern, which is what we've been dealing with for much of this month so far. Not seeing any other questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, here's one more look at your 7-day forecast. Chilly, partly to mostly cloudy for your St. Patrick's Day, but not as breezy or quite as cold as today. Tomorrow morning, though, will be the coldest so far. So those temperatures have been, that cold air has been moving in all day today. Tonight into tomorrow morning, that's when we really kind of bottom out. Tomorrow morning is going to be the coldest weather of the entire week. Wind chills down into the single digits. Then during the day tomorrow, we break into the mid 30s. Warming up then with a warm front moving through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. That does bring us a chance of some snow or maybe some rain snow mix overnight Tuesday night into early Wednesday. But by Wednesday afternoon, that begins to clear out. We get a little sunshine in here. We warm into the 50s. Then really gorgeous into the week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, partly to mostly sunny. Temperatures gradually warming into the upper 60s Thursday, then mid 70s Friday, Saturday. A cold front moves through Sunday, but again, it looks like it'll probably be a dry one, so not expecting much, if any, precipitation from that, but we will see a bit of a cool down very briefly to start next week before we start to warm back up again. All right, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will be in with your forecast this evening on 14 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10. And he'll also have another streaming show here tonight at 9. So I hope you'll join him then. Everybody have a great rest of your day and do your best to stay warm.